Good evening, everybody. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas, the great American auto scene, brought to you by Valley Head Service, Irwindale Speedway, Irwindale Drag Strip, and Tucker Tire.
Oh.
Hi, good evening, everybody. You're coming to us, or we're coming to you, right? Yeah, we're going to you
both ways.
live from North Hollywood, California, in studio tonight. The always goofy Anna Marco. See, I got you on the first try this time.
I'm goofy.
Yeah, you're goofy. We'll get another story about that. That's another thing. And behind the controls, working the boards, it's Bruce Parker.
What?
Yeah. And with us tonight, special guest in studio, Fireball.
I'm sorry, I heard we go both ways. I'm a little confused right now.
No, it's bright in here from Star Quality.
Say what?
I need sunglasses. I'm sitting next to a bright and shiny personality.
Oh, good.
Here's some water. We'll pour you out.
All right. GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene, the show about what's hot, what's not, what could be and what should be in auto hobbies, collecting, racing, driving, everything that has to do with cars, except we don't do road tests. No. They don't allow us behind the wheel of a car.
Yeah, they don't trust us.
They don't trust us. All right, but tonight we have got a great array of things to talk about. And one of the things we're going to talk about is one of the more popular Fords ever produced was the 1932 Ford. Unfortunately, it was introduced during the height of the Depression, and sales were not that great. But it's an iconic hot rod, and with us tonight is David Odegaard, and they are producing reproduction steel 32 Ford bodies.
I want one.
Among other things.
Holy cow.
I'm not so depressed anymore.
I want one.
You want one? Okay. David, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Bob.
Good.
David, send that car over here.
I'll take two.
Well, Bob is Hot Rod Bob. That's a reason, right? Do you have
That's
a Deuce
right.
Coupe in the garage, Bob?
No, I don't have anything quite that old. Well, I do. We got a 31 Model A, and we've got a 46 Ford, we got a 57 Ford, a 48 Plymouth. And yeah, we're working on it.
He's
but
the
we
oldest
haven't
thing in
gotten
the
that far.
garage.
Yeah, I am actually. Well, no, I'm not. The 31 Ford beats me. That's older than I am. But that's my wife's car. And she's had that before we got married. So when we got married, I asked her to respond with a photograph of her cars, and she did.
You know what? If people did that more often, there'd be a lot more happy marriages out there. You know what I mean?
You know, it could be.
Yeah.
All right, David, we've got your website up now. We're looking at some great illustration, great photos of the components you make, and it's not just limited to 32 Fords. You've got a whole array of products that are offered through United Pacific, correct?
Yeah. You know, we specialize in stamping of heavy steel stampings, and several years ago we collaborated with Ford Motor Company to reproduce the 1932 Ford 5-window coupe body, and it's exactly as original. And with that, as time has gone on, we did the 32 Ford truck. And now we're doing the Bronco, the classic Ford Bronco, 1966 to 77 Bronco, super popular.
Wow.
And we also stamp out replacement panels for the ever-popular Mustangs, Chevy trucks. You name it, we've kind of supply the industry with quality, heavy-duty stampings of these panels.
No, but you also
God
have,
bless you.
Yes, but yeah, thank you.
Well, hey,
Rust
Rust never sleeps, right?
No, that's
Oh,
right. In Rust we
man.
trust.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question
Yeah.
about this. You know, it's really interesting that there's a lot of companies doing a similar type of stuff. But what I've seen, the trend is that the bigger companies, Ford, Chevy, is there, in your opinion, is there a possibility that instead of creating brand new cars like new Camaros and those design languages evolving, that they're going to start bringing back some of these old cars as new cars directly from the manufacturer?
Well, I don't see that exactly from the manufacturer due to the modern requirements, safety requirements, and stuff like that. But certainly, going forward, companies like us are supplying bodies to builders that are taking advantage of the law that was passed a few years ago. It's low vehicle manufacturers that are able to produce brand new vehicles, exact copies of the old ones, and are able to get them licensed and registered and don't have to crash 50 of them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Pass the government standards. So it is possible that you can build a brand new 32 Ford, you could build a brand new Ford Bronco, you can build a brand new Mustang, C10 trucks as well.
Yeah, this is a unique way for them to be able to achieve that and kind of skirt around that issue of manufacturing costs and issues and the rules and all that stuff.
Well, like for the 32 Ford, we are a licensee of Ford Motor Company. So they embrace their legacy products, and the Deuce Coupes from years past, that is one of their legacy products, right? We all know that from American Graffiti, and so in popular culture, these are super popular vehicles, and Ford Motor Company supports us and licenses us to build exact copies of their products from back in the day.
Well, if you go back far enough, Ford didn't make their Model A bodies. Those were stamped by Briggs and Murray. So,
Briggs and Murray. Hot Rod Bob knows his stuff.
Yeah, I know a little bit. Yeah, I'm full of it sometimes, but since my wife's got a Model A and I've had a Model A, I looked into the history and I tried to educate myself on the stuff. And there were so many different body styles that Ford offered, but they used outside manufacturers to put the bodies together, and a lot of companies did. Bud was a OEM supplier as well. You're bringing back vehicles that are highly desirable that people can't find anymore, that aren't rust-free or as exacting as you. I mean, I think the detail you've got in your 32 Fords and the consistency and the stampings are far greater than what Ford was producing.
Oh yeah, they're very accurate, and the parts are as good or better than the originals. The way the market kind of works out is, I love hot rodding, and if you can do it in an affordable way and build that dream hot rod in your garage, that's great. But if you want to bring that hot rod to the next level where it gets that beautiful jet black paint job and it's just straight as straight can be, oftentimes it's not beneficial to use the original body, because by the time you've tried to straighten out that old fatigue metal and get that perfect car, you get frustrated and start piling on the dollars, and that's what slows your project down. And with the new body that we make, you can get to the fun stuff a lot quicker, and that's
so you
putting
guys,
the hot rod together.
You guys are a concept to completion. I mean, you guys will build the entire thing.
No, we don't. We build the parts, the steel body. So you'll still go to a builder.
Okay.
On the high end, you'll go to maybe somebody like Chip Foose or Roy Brizio and have yourself a 32 Ford built, or do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. I mean, you're starting out with a body. You're not repairing a body. You're starting out with a body that's fresh. You do some of the blocking that you want to do, because there's always slight imperfections in everything. But I showed my wife the pickup truck body the other day, and she's going, we've been talking about getting a truck. We're going to spend the same money by building one of these as we would on a new truck. Maybe we should. And I said, yeah, okay. So I've got her in the good mood right now.
Yeah. Build our 5-window coupe while you're at it. Air conditioning, leather interior.
There we go. Yeah, a daily. She'd love that she would actually love that as a daily driver.
Yeah, you certainly can daily drive them if you build them right.
Yeah, disc brakes. You got air conditioning. You got late model power plants. You can get the fuel mileage that is almost required today in long drives and everyday driving. But you've got a solid steel body. Now, what are the options on the 32 Coupe?
Well, originally, back in the day, the classic cars had like a fabric insert in the roof, in the steel roof of the car. And that was because Ford at the time, and GM as well, they weren't able to stamp large, giant panels at that time. And so there's an insert in there, and the hot rodders post-World War II said, heck with that insert, I'm going to fill that in with a steel panel. Right, and so they would fill that in. It's called a filled roof. So we stamp them out with the original open roof that you put the fabric insert on, or a solid steel roof that doesn't require any filling. It's just the way we make it from right off our tooling. And pretty much that's it. It's up to each hot rod builder to, if he wants to chop it, right, cut a couple inches out, like the one on American Graffiti,
right,
or if he wants to run it with the fenders, or as a highboy without the fenders. And these are all part of hot rodding, and it goes from traditional hot rodding to street rodding, the whole gambit of every type of car in between.
What could someone expect to spend on something like this?
If you built it at home, you're probably talking in the range of, on the low side, $50,000, and on the high side, if you have a builder do it, it's not unheard of that these things are well over $100,000.
Sure. Yeah, Roy Brizzi, for example, if you went to Roy Brizzi on, that's pretty much saying you got an hourly labor rate, and they got to put it together.
Or you could get Chip to do it, and it'd be $250,000.
Yeah, and that's without paint.
Yeah,
but just chugging. But now your cars are very. I believe I've seen them at shows and on display. But it's not just the 32 Fords, and it's not just the steel bodies. You've got the lighting systems too.
Right. So this company specializes in LED technology, and we have evolved our LED technology from the commercial heavy-duty trucks, where we started out making the LED taillights on those back in the late 80s. And we developed a line of LED lights that are direct fit, classic lighting for Camaros, 57 Chevys, Chevy trucks, the early Fords. So that is one of our signature products, is we make an LED taillight lens that fits in the exact spot as the original and is interchangeable and plug and play. It simply plugs into the original light bulb socket, and you have safe, modern LED lighting. All you need is the screwdriver to change it out.
Anna's feverishly taking notes, like she's going to call him right after this is over.
Oh, she's thinking she's got a Mustang.
Yeah, I have a '66 Mustang. We're the original owner. And in the 70s, my mom was hit by a drunk driver, and it tweaked the frame about a half an inch.
In which direction? Oh, never mind.
So the panels don't fit properly, and my rocker panels are rotting out, and so is the cowl.
But that's just on the car, not on you.
Well,
so I'll be calling you for panels.
Yeah, for parts. Fast forward to now, the damage you described, that's commonplace and so fixable, because now the panels are made seam to seam. So after you have your body guy change it out, it's like it never happened, because they'll recreate all the spot welds, and it won't be that car that was fixed up with Bondo and chicken wire, right?
Right.
Somebody looks at that thing under when they put it up on the lift and look at it, they won't even be able to tell that there ever was any damage if you have buy the right parts and have the right body guy do it. But for that car, for your 66, we make the exact taillight lens for that car. It looks just like Ford made it, but when it lights up, it's LED. And get this, it's also sequential. So for your Mustang, it has the 3 lights. It'll sequence left to right when your turn signal's on. It's a really neat effect, like the old Thunderbirds.
Yeah, exactly. We just had it on screen just a little while ago, and it's really cool looking. It gives you, like you said, safe lighting, because today the amount of brightness that your LED lights put out is far greater than the incandescent bulbs of days gone by, and you could actually see the car further ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, perhaps Anna's Mustang wouldn't have been rear-ended back in the day if those LED lights had existed then.
Right? Yeah, and it was in the rain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where are you guys located?
We're in Long Beach, California, right behind the Long Beach Airport.
That's nice. Yeah.
We can visit.
So I look out the window, Virgin Orbit's next to us, the guys that make the satellite launchers.
Okay.
Road trip.
And right across the street is the original building that Boeing and Douglas used to build B-17s during World War II. So
my friend Larry Wood has a shop down there. Are you near Larry Wood?
I'm not sure. What's his company?
Well, Larry was the original designer for Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's down there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Long Beach is very long.
Yes.
Long Beach is a car town. There are tons of classic cars all over Long Beach.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a great town to be involved in this hobby.
Yeah, you don't want to have a business like yours and be in Kansas.
But anyway, one of the things I was noticing, you've got new Halo-style headlights for cars that take the old round headlights that are becoming very difficult to find nowadays.
Yeah, the seal beam bulbs. Yeah. I mean, if you go into some of the regular auto parts stores, those are getting hard to find, and we make a full line of them. You know, the 7-inch round headlight came out in 1940 and was used all the way up into the 80s, and so there's a ton of collector cars that use that 7-inch light, and we make a wide variety of them, from looking pretty stock to having the halo auxiliary light in them, or all LED, and we offer a wide variety of those. Again, plug and play. You could put it in with a screwdriver.
Now, the halo could come in different colors?
Yeah, it comes in white or amber. Usually the white is the customers that want to use it as like a DRL sort of look. And the ones that are amber, a lot of customers will hook those up to their turn signals.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Cool.
all of this product, is it made in the United States?
Oh, I wish. We manufacture a lot of our products in Taiwan. So, but I travel over there as R&D director. I travel over there all the time, and we have some fantastic factories over there that have the highest tech and produce the highest quality.
In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, David, I think Taiwan has a reputation for making things quite a bit better than mainland China, I believe.
I would think so. That's why we source out of Taiwan primarily, and it's allowed having the products at a price point, not cheap, but just at a price point that the enthusiasts can get the parts and have the parts for their hobby. If we didn't have the ability to make a product at an affordable price in the volume that we make, a lot of this stuff wouldn't exist to keep these classic cars alive.
That's true. Now, if someone wanted to check out your products, can they buy direct, or is there a distributor network that they need to go through?
We have a website that does list the MSRP of our products, but the products should be purchased through our dealers, and our dealers are, Speedway Motors, SoCal Speed Shop, Classic Industries, all the big names in automotive restoration are dealers for us, and they stock our products.
Great.
All their locations.
Cool stuff.
All right, David, any parting words that you want to leave with our watchers or visual people that watch our show, whatever they are?
Parting words would be keep all those cars on the road.
Let's
keep the classics going.
Will do.
There's no reason in this day and age not to fix up all the classic cars that are rotting away, and we're happy to supply.
There's still a lot of barn finds out there, buddy.
There are.
Yeah, true.
There are.
No, he's going to put the eBay mafia out of business. I'm so happy. All hail David Odegaard.
David,
thanks, Anna.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so happy.
We're all bowing right now.
All right, thank you very much for calling in. It's enlightening to see what you're doing, and we're glad that you're part of it. Give the guys at your shop a kudos for the great quality that you're putting out, and we will see you at a car show, I'm sure.
Absolutely. We'll see you out there in your hot rod.
That sounds great. Thank you very much, David. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
To you too.
Man, that's amazing. You know what? It's funny, the timing. I am right now just grinding through as quick as possible because I'm on kind of a budget and a timeline.
Yeah.
But my first car, which, Bob, you've seen it.
Yeah.
And, you've seen it. 67 Mustang. And, there's
They got some stuff for it.
Yeah, they got everything for it. And, including the taillights. This is back in the day, in the late 70s. Man, I'm old. There was a kit that you could, it wasn't a kit, it was online schematics, electronic schematics, to make taillights sequence like that, like they did in the Cougars and the California Specials and the Thunderbirds. And so I did it. I actually bought all the capacitors and resistors and crap, and then carved 2 extra taillight holes in the housings because those Mustangs, 67, 68, there was only one bulb. And so, to get the other bulbs and then separate them out, and then, but these ridiculous circuit boards are sitting back there, and I'm looking at this product going, holy
It's
cow.
all built in.
Yeah, you can replace it all, plus it draws less current.
Yes.
So you don't burn out your turn signal
Well,
switch.
one of the things that I've noticed, too, I've got the LEDs on my car.
Yeah.
And put them on my wife's as well. So they are extremely bright in comparison to what we're used to with incandescent bulbs. And that's a safety factor.
Yeah.
I went through the NSRA safety inspections on my car, and I can remember the inspector saying, okay, hit your brake lights. And all of a sudden I see his head go, oh my gosh, those are bright. And that's what I wanted. And my wife was the same way. Her car still had the same wiring system when it was 6-volt. And it still had the stock lenses, which had no piece behind them to reflect the light out and make it brighter.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm looking at his headlights, I'm going to get a set of those headlights for her car too, because we got to keep her lights on bright, just to have normal lighting.
Yeah.
So
well, one of the quirks in my 66 is that every time it would rain, the rear right taillight would short out. With the one bulb.
Yeah. Okay,
and I was constantly having to replace that bulb, and with the LEDs, I won't have to do that
you won't
anymore.
do it. It's a whole sealed unit.
Yeah.
If you look at the bulbs themselves, it's not a separate bulb. The backing and the lens is one piece. Moisture can't get in, and it replaces the whole housing and such in the back of the vehicle.
Oh, that company's a godsend.
You'd be surprised at how when we would do films, at how many times a director would say, "I can't see the taillights."
Yeah.
In some of these cars, and they would have to either CG it later.
Yeah,
because the car was already on set, or they would have to take it back and put LEDs in there.
Yeah, and now you can buy them. I remember, like Bruce saying, I bought a strip of LED lights to make my own taillights, and I put them in the back of my car, and I go, wow, that's great. But it was a single line. You couldn't get multi-levels and multi-lines. Now I've got LEDs that are purchased, made as and what I like about them is they take up the whole lens. So when you hit the brakes, or you just got the taillights on, they're bright enough you can see quite a bit back. Today, and I see this at the drag strip all the time, because we race at night at Irwindale, and you've got to have at least functioning taillights on your vehicle so we can see it going down the track. There's dark spots at night, and you miss the cars. And we can tell the cars with original taillights. We can't see them until they hit the brakes. And then when you hit the brakes, it's even minimal as to what you can see there, because you're still working with an incandescent bulb. So you can tell the cars with the LEDs. You can see them all the way down the track. And then when they hit the brakes, you know exactly where they are. And that's what I like about the safety aspect that Dave has brought up with that, because you're traveling on the we're traveling on freeways all the time. There's no way to get anywhere without being on the freeways here in Southern California. And you get stuck in traffic. I want the guy behind me to make sure he sees the taillights.
Yeah, more and more now.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention.
That's one reason why I'm afraid to drive my 66 at night on the freeway.
Yeah.
Because you can't really see the taillights.
No, and everything on your car can now be replaced and improved and fixed, and talk to Stormy and
Tom Cunningham.
And get them working on it
Get
now.
them working on
he's
it.
finished his Falcon. He's not working on a gasser anymore.
No,
the
he's
funny
working
car's
on
done.
the Anglia and a Chevy now.
Another Anglia?
No, the same one.
Which one? The 50s or the 40s?
The 50s one that belongs to the guy and
that bought it about 2 years ago that still hasn't gotten it yet. Yeah, I showed that.
You know why? Because
why?
they had to move the firewall back, and it was so much work. Because I hate to say, but the people who worked on it before really butchered the car.
Yeah.
And they basically had to rebuild the panels from scratch, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I was joking.
And there's
with
no
Stormy
company like United Pacific for Anglias.
Not for English Fords. Yeah, I was talking to Stormy when he started building that car. I had one when I was in high school. And that was one of the safest cars I could ever have. Because if you missed a shift, the pedestrians would pass you in the crosswalks. Yeah. We didn't put V8s in
Well,
it back
this
then.
one I think is going to be on nitrous. So
nitrous, yeah, okay. Are they going to run the purge line to the driver's helmet? I mean, make the driver happy.
I don't know. Whatever the guy wants.
Whatever he wants, he gets. Whatever he's paying for, whatever his checkbook says, he gets.
Lucky guy, because it's beautiful.
It is. All right, Bruce, do we have any vintage commercials?
Yeah, hey, let's take our chances and see if we're banned from the internet.
That's
no, these are fair use. We have the right to use them, just so you know.
Valley Head Service at Irwindale Speedway and Drag Strip, the sponsors of GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene.
Hello, I'm Truman Bradley, speaking for your local Chrysler dealer. And tonight I have a real challenge for you, because we believe that 15 minutes here can change 15 years of car buying habits. And that's especially true if you now drive one of the two major competitive cars in Chrysler's price class. In fact, every day, more and more folks just like you are making the big switch to the exciting new 56 Chrysler. But let's spend a Saturday morning with the owners of this sleek new power-style Chrysler, and I'll show you some of the reasons why. Notice how your neighbors look with admiration as you drive out in your new Chrysler. And no wonder. From the rakish flare of its new flight-swept rear fenders, right up to its bold but elegant new front styling, the new power-style Chrysler emphasizes the forward look of power in motion.
Looks like it's still moving, even when it stops.
Some design.
And now let's go with the missus for the Saturday shopping. Well, here's a young man who's mighty impressed.
Wow, another new Chrysler. That rear end looks just like a jet plane.
He knows what he's talking about. The Chrysler engineers have adapted the most modern jet plane designs in this new Chrysler. Everywhere people notice you.
I'll park it for you. Get a real kick out of that push-button driving. What a car.
Well, now you begin to understand some of the reasons why America's most smartly different car is being seen in all the smartest places. But slip behind the wheel of a new power-style Chrysler and get the whole story for yourself. Just be prepared to make the switch to Chrysler, because I promise you, 15 minutes here can change 15 years of habits. Why not stop in at your Chrysler dealers tomorrow? Take the keys and see what driving pleasure really is.
All right, welcome back to GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. In studio with us tonight is Fireball, and he's going to tell us all about some great stuff he's working on. And boy, you are so busy.
I'm trying my best to figure out a way to clone myself, and it's just not working.
Well, stop cloning around.
It's not working at all. And every one of them comes out, they don't know what the hell they're doing. So. Wait a second, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so maybe I am doing it right.
Yeah, that's right, you're wrong.
Well, I guess the biggest news that we have going on is I'm working with David Neal at the Murphy Auto Museum in Oxnard, and we've had a lot of great shows recently. We just had a vintage trailer show that was epic.
It was amazing.
Over 1,000 people that came. Yeah. I wouldn't think that vintage trailers were as popular as they are, and I learned that from David, and that people love these trailers like. They're their homes.
Yeah, and the camaraderie among the people, it's totally different from a regular car show.
Right.
A lot of them had cars that matched their trailers.
Exactly.
And they had them on display there along with the trailer. But the people themselves, it's a whole different world. You walk up to someone's trailer, they say, come on in, take a look.
Oh, really? Yeah. They're opening their homes, and it's all about period correct. It's everything down to the dishes and the floor mats and and everything that goes along with it. And they are on this constant search, this never-ending search for things that could go along with it. But the exciting news is that for as long as the Murphy has been there, it's been a really big place. It's about a 90,000 square foot facility that we are using about half of. But some things happened with the landlord that kind of opened up an opportunity. So David and I had a discussion a while back, and we decided that we were going to basically jump ship and get a whole new building. That's about 2 miles away. We found a spectacular deal, and David is very excited about this. It is 130 Eastman in Oxnard. You can Google that and see what the building looks like.
Okay.
It used to be the Toy Barn. The neat thing about this new facility, which we're going to start moving in the next couple of weeks, is that although the floor plan is a little bit smaller, we're going to get rid of a lot of the excess wood, so to speak, cars that are not of museum quality, museum level, so that the floor space is a little bit smaller. But the parking lot is massive, so we're going to be putting on some really spectacular shows, which we already have Muscles and Mojo, which is our Cars and Coffee once a month, every first Sunday of the month, the Vintage Trailer Show, obviously. But it's a safe and it's a cool new building, and we have a new store that's going to go in there. What was that?
That was David's son.
Oh,
over his
Max.
Max playing in the Jeep.
Yeah.
And he was there for hours like that.
Just sitting like that. Yeah. It was great.
Oh, jeez.
So we have a store going in, which is really going to be great because we're going to be selling a lot of stuff that you really can't find anywhere else as far as going to Pet Boys and a lot of things. We're going to have a lot of vintage trailer stuff.
Yeah.
And as well as the Fireball Gallery, which is our new art gallery, which launched. And we're going to have 10 artists in the next show, which is in January.
Oh, is it? Good.
Oh, yeah. So it's very exciting. And it's one of those things that, when you're we try to talk about this a little bit on our shows, on the vlog, and we have our new Art Talk show, which is on Facebook Live in the morning, is that, when you're presented something, a dilemma or something that's a challenge, and you look at it like, oh, man, I didn't see this coming, this is terrible, and all this stuff, the sooner you can get around that and say, wait, there's a seed of opportunity hidden in this thing, and if you can get yourself into a state of mind where you're excited about this change, whatever it is, then suddenly things just start kicking in, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And now we cannot wait to get this thing going because we know that the audience and the people that come to the museum, we've already had the Ventura Nationals reach out to us, and they're going to be bringing their entire show to us on the Sunday after the National show.
Oh, good.
Which is very exciting, and it's just Ventura and Oxnard is just an incredible series of cities and amazing community. The city of Oxnard, very supportive, just a lot of tremendous firepower up there as far as the car community goes.
And it's about 20 or 30 degrees cooler on a bad day.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's one of the reasons I live up there. It's just so much, the weather is just so much more amenable. It's beautiful, cool. The sun can be shining, but you're about 20 to 30 degrees cooler than the LA area.
Absolutely.
So get out of the heat.
Right. And if you're, that's the Bohemia Incorporated, those guys right there. They have a sculpture that's in the gallery. But, I consider myself blessed. I live in Malibu and I get to drive up PCH to the museum all the time. And there's nothing better than if you have a cool car, a classic, or whatever it is that you love to drive, there's really no better place in Southern California than to go up and down Pacific Coast Highway and take pictures and enjoy yourself. Grab some lunch at Subway or something and stop along the water and look at your cool car and have a sandwich.
Go to Neptune's Net.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the way. I mean, that's a great place on the weekends. The motorcycle guys come out there much like they do the Rock House, but hot rods get out there as well. And it's you got the ocean right across from where you're sitting. And even at the museum right now, and even where you're going, you're only about a mile or two away from the water.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can go to Channel Islands. You can go to the Maritime Museum if you want. There's so many things to see out there, and it's quiet. It's just a great community. Peaceful. So we're looking forward to that, and I think that we're certainly up in the game, and we're looking forward to the Buellton Vintage Trailer Show, which is happening in September. That's a 4-day event. I'm bringing Tony Dow with me, and we're just going to have a blast. And if you're talking about, we're going from a show at the Murphy with 40 vintage trailers to 290 trailers, almost 300 trailers.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And about 10,000 people are going to come to this thing. It's just off the chart. It's absolutely. If you ever imagined one place where you could see almost every kind of trailer that exists in variation, and the cool cars that pull these things, you're in for a treat. The Mendenhall Museum is up there.
Right, 200 Mile an Hour Club.
Yeah, lots of neat stuff. So it's a really exciting time with regard to that, and we're trying to use the vlog and Art Talk, the show in the morning, to let people know. And then, of course, we have our coloring books and stuff, which you guys know.
Yeah, well, Bruce can pull up your website.
Do you have a vintage trailer coloring book?
I didn't bring the vintage trailer because didn't I give you that last time?
No, she stole the Mustang one.
Well, I collect her coloring books, but my brother's kids steal them all.
Well, I know you don't have this one. This is not necessarily a classic book, although there's a bit of classic in it. But we just came out with our Porsche book.
So look at that!
I got you guys a Porsche coloring book.
Fantastic! I can add this. I've got all of your others.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, one of the things I enjoyed. We were back in Bowling Green. I was working for NHRA a few weeks ago doing the show in Bowling Green, and I always make my pilgrimage to the Corvette Museum.
Yeah,
and we're walking around, and there's your books
in the Corvette Museum.
On the shelf of the Corvette Museum.
That's cool.
It's cool because I know you, and I get to see your stuff all over the place.
Well, it's pretty neat, And the thing is that we just recently went to the Porsche Experience Center this past weekend, and they had, I had not gone down there and talked to them. And the moment I pulled the book out, people started getting really excited to where I was a little overwhelmed at the excitement. By the time I got back to to the pad in Malibu that we already had orders from the Autobahn Adventures. If you ever heard of those guys, they put together these incredible adventures on the Autobahn with Porsche enthusiasts for 2 or 3 weeks. So we just sent them a whole passel of books. So it's really neat. It's exciting. We're doing Broncos next. We're doing Tiki. Just lots of neat stuff. We're always taking lots of great ideas from people and stuff things that they want. But there's just nothing out there like it. So it makes sense that at the museum we would have a store that's filled with some great creative stuff, and we're looking forward. And also, as a last little note, that if you have a weekend where you don't have something to do and you maybe want to drive a classic car, you want to help out, the next few weekends at the museum, we're going to be needing some people to come up and kind of help out and
I'll see you
join us. Yeah, right. So if you want to, just kind of keep tabs on the vlog or our Art Talk show. We'll be talking about that stuff daily on Art Talk as to when that's going to happen, and you can come up and you can help out, and we'll have pizza and all kinds of fun stuff.
That works for me, and I'm just down the street, so it's easy for me. Now, the other thing about...
wait, is that in Malibu on Sunday?
No, that's the Murphy Museum in Oxnard.
Oh.
Malibu is the Wheels and Waves car show. That's in 2 weeks.
And that's always fun to go to. We go down there. You see some great cars. I left too early. I missed Dick Van Dyke last time.
Yeah, boy.
He came in and
he was there for 2 hours.
Yeah, and Randy was talking with him, and you were talking. I mean, they got some great pictures with him. But we've seen the cosmetic guy, Paul.
Mitchell?
Oh, Paul,
yes.
Paul Mitchell.
He drove his Cobra in.
Yeah, Keanu was there a few months ago. He's come a couple of times.
Exciting.
But Dick is really cool because he'll walk over and say, "Hey, you want me to sit in your car or can I sit in?" And you're like, "Are you kidding? Get in there!"
And he's an old car guy too. And he had I don't know if he still got it, but he had an Avante for a long time, and Jaguars and so forth. And he's a neat guy.
Yeah. And about 10 years ago, we restored the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh, did
you? Yeah, and we talked to him about that, and that's a very strange thing to put him with that car and know that history. You know? It's like a century ago.
Where is that car now?
That it was brought from England to be restored here, and then it's in a museum somewhere in the States. I'm not sure exactly where it is at this point.
Great.
But here's some shots of the Murphy Museum. Now, one of the other unique things about the Murphy Museum that you won't find anyplace else in California at all, Granatelli memorabilia.
Oh, yeah.
If you are a fan of Vince and Andy Granatelli and their indie efforts, USAC efforts, their Bonneville records and so forth, you can get a lot of the information and books and so forth about Andy Granatelli and Vince and so forth at the Murphy Museum.
We're going to have a whole new section. It's called the Granatelli Garage.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be literally a garage-sized space that's going to be dedicated to Andy stuff.
And they just had something on Facebook about Andy Granatelli. They blocked off a street or a road in Nevada, just outside Vegas, and he took a stock almost, other than the supercharger, 62 Plymouth, and drove it 181 miles an hour in 1962. So you think about that for a second. 1962, a Plymouth with superchargers.
Man.
Now, Andy and Vince were the Paxton supercharger guys here on the West Coast, and everything got a Paxton supercharger. They call those Vortex now, I think.
And didn't they put those on the Avantes in 1960?
It was an option on the Avante, on the Lark, and the Hawk.
Yeah.
You could get the supercharged versions, and Andy took Paula Murphy to Bonneville, and they set a number of records with Studebakers at Bonneville, all the with the R2 is what they call them.
We have the supercharged car there.
Yeah, and there were amazing cars. Studebaker had an amazing reputation, and Andy was with him. And even if you go back now, everyone knows STP, Motor Honey, right?
Sure.
That was Studebaker.
Oh.
If you get an early can of STP that's still steel, you find them someplace hidden. If you look at the bottom, it was Studebaker was the manufacturer of STP. That was one of their products.
Did STP stand for something?
Yeah, Studebaker something products.
Huh. Interesting.
In the early days. And I remember when I was a kid working in a gas station, we had STP because you had a lot of cars that burnt oil back then. And you'd sell them a can of STP. You'd have to heat it up to get it to come out of the can.
I remember that.
It would slow
just like most
down.
soups.
Yeah. It would slow down the oil burning in theory, but it was a great lubricant too. I used to use it, and a lot of guys I know used it as assembly lube because it was very thick and very smooth, and you could put it on there, and it was very slippery. Now, I found out the hard way, you don't put it in transmissions. The synchros don't move until the engine gets hot. But I mean, it was a great lubricant. Now it's a whole different company now, and obviously the Studebaker Corporation is long gone. But
except at my house.
Except at your house, yeah. You still have you got the pickup or just the coupe?
I sold the pickup to a Vietnam veteran, so he could build it with his grandson, and they drove all the way out from Chicago to pick that truck up.
Wow. Yeah, because back there we just rusted away.
And then I've got my 55 Commander, which we're building, and I belong to the Studebaker Drivers Club. And
cool. They put on a show at Murphy.
Came out to speak to our club, and I showed him what we were doing. He was like, "Oh my God, that's a concept car!"
That is awesome. Now I've been able to own one Studebaker. My dad had a Studebaker. My family were Studebaker buyers, and if you go back into
they are so underappreciated.
Yes, but even in the early days, before they or about the same time they merged with Packard, Max Hoffman was bringing in Mercedes. Couldn't find people to take him as dealerships, so he merged his distribution with Studebaker.
He also brought Porsches in.
He brought Porsche. He brought
that.
Volkswagen. He was one of the major importers of European vehicles.
Okay.
And I went to work for BMW actually shortly after he sold the distributorship. But every year we had to have a car ready for him and his kids. They had one of the agreements in the buyout was they got a new car every year.
Well, I just have to say, my 55 Studebaker is badass.
Yes.
And
they all are.
We're going to debut it at the Grand National Roadster Show.
Are you?
Hopefully in 2021.
That's great.
2021?
Well, next year we're debuting the Bill Hines tribute car to his wife, Lova.
Oh, right.
I think it's one of the last cars that he worked on with Johnny Labuenas. And they got it out of storage, and they're going to finish it. So that is taking my spot.
Yours has been under destruction for how many years now?
Oh, 10. But such a cool, and it's fast.
Yeah. We have a wagon, the Wagonaire, that along with the trailer boat, and we'll be bringing those to Ventura Nationals, either the trailer boat or a WeWind. We haven't decided yet. Depending on some space, but we'll have the wagon there, which is the best thing in the world because the wagon has that slot that
sliding roof.
Yeah, the sliding roof is just like, why don't they bring that thing back? I mean, it's just
well, GMC tried a couple of years ago.
I remember that
on their SUV.
Yeah,
but and everyone goes, "Oh, it's a new thing." Here's a picture of the
Isn't that awesome?
It is absolutely
and that was
coolest.
This is 1964, 65.
Yeah.
Studebaker was well ahead of their time in everything. In aerodynamics, they were one of the first ones to get an overhead valve V8.
Yeah.
They preceded Cadillac and Oldsmobile with their V8, and they never got bigger than a 289. And unfortunately, in their waning years, they actually buying Chevrolet V8s and put them in there.
Well, you just bought a canned ham trailer, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And what are you going to pull that with?
Our 56 Chevy wagon.
Are you going to go
or
to the
my son's
Buellton?
50. I haven't gotten that far along yet. We were going to bring it over actually to the show at Murphy, and unfortunately, fortunately to an extent, we had a commitment for another show, and I had to go to that show. But I almost went to the point of going back over to my garage, putting the dolly on it, and towing it across the street by hand to make sure it was there. Steve wanted it because it's under construction. Everything else that was there had been finished, and we had one that hadn't been restored as all original and hadn't been touched yet. And one of the things that I found interesting after looking at the trailer, we went Friday night while everyone was setting up.
Yeah.
And Steve, who works at the museum, his wife has a beautiful canned ham.
Right.
It was inside the building. The upholstery is original on hers. It's still what it came with. It's the same upholstery I've got in mine.
Oh, wow.
And we found that the vinyl is still available. So we've got to get our upholstery redone. The seams are all torn. It's aged. So we're going to get ours redone exactly the way it was, and we can get the material. Dave's given me some leads on manufacturing.
Just like building a tiny house.
Who's good at doing that is Sergio Prado at Henry's Upholstery in, is it La Mirada or Laverne? He is.
Well, he's got a canned ham.
Right. So
he's an enthusiast. Yeah. With that Ford.
I know.
Yeah.
So he's going to do the Studebaker, and he does great nostalgia interior.
It's his fault that my wife wanted a canned ham.
Okay.
We were at a show in Brea, and he had set up with his car, his tow vehicle. He brought it out to Pomona a number of times. I'd seen it, but he was there set up, and my wife and I are walking around. She says, "Look at these trailers!" Like she'd never seen a trailer before, but she was looking at the trailer and goes, "Oh, that's so neat!" And his wife goes, "Come on in, let me show you." And his trailer matches his vehicle. It's got an F1 that he tows the trailer with, and she walked through it. My wife says, "We've got to get one of these." And then our friend Dale Snoke calls me up and says, "Hey, I've got this trailer." We went over and bought it on the spot.
That's the way it happens.
And so we've had it now for a couple of years. I'm stripping the paint off slowly. There are multi-layers of paint on this vehicle, and we found the original design of the painting that was on it. So we're going to try and duplicate that as well. But our 56 Chevy is turquoise and white. The trailer was red and white at some point in time. So we're going to duplicate it in turquoise and white to match the Chevy.
Nice.
And tow it with the 56 wagon. So that'll be cool. Or if I don't get the wagon done, I may put a hitch on the back of our 57 Ford, but we're not going to paint them up to be the same. But so one way or another, that trailer is going to be on the road next year. Nice. I've got almost half of it stripped now. The interior was pretty good. It was just a little wood rot around the upper vent, which I just get a bigger vent, and that'll take care of the wood rot. And then by one of the taillights. Yeah. Someone was actually using this trailer up until the 90s. In every place they went, they put the sticker inside on the wood. We're going to preserve that, and we got all the registrations back to when it was new. The strange part about it, and I found this out when I registered it, the VIN numbers were not, there was no sequence or mandatory design or style of VIN numbers. When we pulled mine up, there were 5 other trailers in Southern California with the same number. Wow. But they were all utility trailers. So we went and had mine inspected and go, okay, it's a camper trailer. So, and we had no problem getting it registered. But we've got it registered. We're ready to pull it. I've towed it twice now. Once from Dale's to my house and once from my house to my house. Right. So it's cool.
We have one mod on the wagon, on the Studebaker wagon, that I'm pretty sure no one else has.
What's that?
And that is that you can fold the rear door down, put donuts on it, and we call it the Studebakery.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Awesome. You know what?
That's cool.
Come to the Studebakery and load up, buddy.
Yeah. We're going to have to do a show just on Studebakers.
No, on trailers.
Trailers, too. Yeah.
Then I will bring a bunch of trailer books, for sure.
All right, we'll
promise.
do that. Well, we can
You need to do a pedal car.
Pedal
car book.
Yeah.
It'd be pedaling.
Oh my God, how many have we built now? I think we've built like
we have
8
our
or 10
only stipulation is there has to be at least 1 million fans out there per book.
Oh.
Is there 1 million people that love pedal cars?
Yeah, that's become a big collector hobby.
Done.
It's you know what?
There's a
it's
whole
affordable.
What are you talking about? They're all pedal cars anyway.
Yeah, you're pedaling. Hey,
it's affordable.
There's a whole class at the Grand National Roadster Show just for pedal cars, and even if internationals.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, they're spectacular.
We support
She's
that
won
a
that
lot.
once.
It's like a 2-year paint job on these things.
Yeah. They got more money in the pedal cars than I've got in my regular car.
$1,500.
Oh,
but
it's twice as much as what's in my car.
We donate them to charity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they auction them, and the money goes to Alzheimer's or children's charities. So it's fun. Has a good purpose.
Sure. Well, I just want to mention one last thing about the books is that they're all available on Amazon. You can get them on Amazon. But 10% of proceeds for all the books goes to either a dog rescue, which is Hope for Paws in downtown L.A., which is really great. Check them out on YouTube, Hope for Paws. They actually film all of their rescues.
Oh, cool.
And then Ocean Cleanup. So for the ocean books, which we have, my wife does, and those are for ocean cleanup.
You've got more than just car coloring books. You've got the ocean books too.
Exactly,
and
cool. they commingle, and that's the thing is that we all know that people that love cars also have secondary lives, things that they like other than cars, just not as much maybe. As they do, but surfers love Woodies, and guys that love adventure and outdoors, they like the trucks. So
surfer girls like Woodies too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's why and honestly, the idea of tiki and vintage trailer is all very culture and some neat stuff.
Look at that!
Anna, is that yours?
Do you know what that is?
That's a pedal car.
That is a 1960 Sears Murray fire truck with the back step where the kid would stand and you would hold onto the rails
and pop wheelies.
Yeah, and then you'd have the ladders, and that is the basis of the Golden Sahara pedal car.
Is that your car?
There it is. We're working on the rear end.
Wow.
We're doing a bearish tribute to the Grand National Roadster Show next year
of the
Golden Sahara, and
Does
that's
Joji
all.
know that?
Joji's part of it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Great.
So the Barris family will donate it to a children's charity after Grand National. Isn't that beautiful? Tom is hand fabricating that whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And it's taking him about a year, and that's what the interior hopefully is going to look like.
And you did the Bill Hines tribute last year.
And that's the one that won us first place after 4 years. And there it is. He's extending the body panels, and he got the windshield on it yesterday.
That's
and
awesome.
She's very excited.
Oh,
I don't know if I ever told you this, but my dad wrote 3 Elvis movies. He wrote Easy Come, Easy Go, which George built a surf rod for.
Oh!
You remember that
car?
That's at the Peterson.
That's at the Peterson.
Yes.
Although it was used in another movie, so the tag on it says it's for some other film.
And
but
it was also
originally for
used
Easy Come,
as
Easy
the
Go.
Joker's car, Cesar
Exactly.
Romero.
Right.
And it's right next to my Batmobile, which is really, really cool.
And I got to drive that car. Well, I didn't get to drive it. It doesn't drive. I got into it. I was a volunteer driver for one of the auctions, and I guess it didn't sell. I don't remember, but I was the driver of that thing. And the pedals were so close together, I couldn't get my feet on any of them.
You could stop and go at the same time.
Almost. But they had to push me on stage.
You want to hear a cool tidbit on that car?
Yes,
Tidbit
please.
us.
It has extremely rare vinyl called Aztec embossed vinyl. You cannot get it anymore to restore that car.
Oh, gee.
It's phenomenal. It's so beautiful. I wish some upholstery guy would restamp that and make it.
Yeah, you got to
cool.
make it
beautiful.
new.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to say one more thing.
Only one more thing?
Only one.
Okay.
So the Peterson just acquired the James Hetfield collection.
Oh, did it?
We got 10 of his cars.
Cool.
And they're going to go on display. So
Wow.
the Black Pearl is there, the Aquarius.
Now, for those of you who listen to this, she says we. You got to understand that Anna is a docent.
No, I'm a vault tour guide.
You're a vault tour guy.
I'm staff, actually.
Your staff?
Yeah.
Okay. She is a paid person. She works at the Peterson Museum.
I'm kind of an automotive historian over there.
You are? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I talk about custom culture and cars.
Do you know Andy Lamone over there?
Yes.
Yeah, Andy and I go way back. Yes.
Yeah, so we're like a big happy family. I just got pinned for 5 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I was excited to hear about the Murphy Museum because, museums work together.
I tell you something that we have cooking, though, is that not too long ago at Wheels and Waves, we brought in Johnny Martinez, pinstriper, to pinstripe an original Von Dutch bike that we found.
Yeah.
And it was purchased by a couple of friends of mine back in 1971. And it's been in a closet for eons, and they finally brought it out, finally painted it, and I called up Johnny. I said, "Hey, how'd you like to stripe something really unique?" And this bike we're going to premiere this bike at the Murphy, and then we're going to take it down to the guys at the Peterson.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's really stunning.
Now, the cooperative effort between the museums has been going on for quite some time. During the remodel of the Murphy, some of the vehicles from Peterson were stored at the Murphy Museum.
Right.
And it was great to see, especially that big, long, old trailer. That is just an amazing...
Oh, the 1930s one? That's very long.
Yeah.
You're talking about the Holt?
I think so.
Yeah, I think 27 Holt.
It's blue.
Yeah.
The thing's amazing.
Well, it's long. I just remember
it's
that.
like Art Deco.
It was one that was parked out in front of the building in the garage.
Yeah.
For a long time. And then I remember seeing it at Peterson during the rebuild of the museum and such.
It looks like a parlor car.
Yeah.
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 Beautiful.
I mean, if you really want to see a very, very unique vintage trailer, I mean, this was built at a time where there were no vintage trailers. That was not even a thing back then.
Yeah.
But this guy wanted to create something that he could tool around the States, and it never manifested because it was the year before the Depression, and the Depression hits, and then everything crumbles. It goes into storage for years until I think the 60s, where they finally there it is, where they finally put it together, and it's been up at that at Steve's museum up in Santa Cruz for years, and then Steve moved to Florida, and David bought his collection, and that entire collection is now at the Murphy.
Yeah, we looked at that. That was one of the great things to look at the Murphy during the trailer show as well. And
Southern California has such a fabulous history and legacy of the automobile. There are so many cool museums that you could come, like it's summer vacation.
Yeah.
Come to California and come to all our cool car museums.
Go to it. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
It's amazing. And the Peterson is actually helping support the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Museum that's going up. They're doing a Hollywood Dream Cars exhibit right now. With stuff that's pretty amazing. We've got some Sid Mead cars in there, and Gene Winfield brought some of his hidden sculptures that was used in Blade Runner. And
it's the coolest thing to walk in there and see the Mad Max cars, not only from the original film and from the new film, all a series of different Batmobiles, all the Blade Runner cars.
I didn't know that Batman went back to like 1925.
Comics.
Yeah, amazing.
Yep.
So museums are fun.
Yeah, they are. And the Peterson Museum, we talked about that. We got into that. The total remodel, they've improved upon a lot of different things at that museum. And the display of the educational section is tremendous now.
Well, that's sponsored by Art Center College of Design and Pixar.
Yeah, now it was sponsored by AAA too for a while, wasn't it?
Oh, no, that's a different display.
That's a different display.
Yeah, that's a tribute to Southern California and the Automobile Club.
Right, and the Automobile Club of Southern California, not the national AAA now.
Right.
And what some people don't necessarily know is AAA was more like it was a car club, not an insurance company when it started out. And each club had boundaries where they could recruit members. Well, when they started getting insurance, those boundaries stayed in place. So
well, thank God for them, because they were saving people who were getting stuck in the middle of nowhere, because in the 20s they didn't have, or prior to the 20s, asphalt roads.
No. And they were also doing the street signs.
Yeah.
They were kind of like a
and
private
license plates.
Right. They were the kind of like the Caltrans before there was Caltrans.
Right. I'm so excited about all this stuff. That's why I like working at the museum.
It's great. The history is rich, especially here in Southern California. We were the hotbed of hot rodding. Now, one thing people don't think about, though, was drag racing. And they think about California as being the hotbed for drag racing. Now, it was more El Mirage, high-speed racing. You wanted to go drag racing, you went down Woodward Boulevard in Detroit, where all the manufacturers would bring out their hidden vehicles to test. The GTO, a prime example of that, and John Z. DeLorean. Doing some testing on Woodward Boulevard.
And they do the Woodward Dream Cruise.
Yes,
right.
And that's
Great show.
I've been to
Amazing
that 3
show.
times, and you never get to see it all. And each city along the route of Woodward Boulevard has their own specialty shows. Ford rents a whole park. GM had a restaurant, and the parking, the baseball diamond and park, where they had vehicles on display and historical things from General Motors. Chrysler had a whole shopping center that they put all of their stuff in. And then there's people cruising, 20,000 plus cars.
The only way to see that whole show is to walk around with a big bag of chocolate-covered coffee beans.
And hope they don't melt.
And just constantly chomp on those, and you'll be able to make it. Of course, you'll end up at the hospital after 4 or 5 days. But
you'll do it quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Anna, what are you doing this weekend?
I don't know.
That narrows it down.
This weekend, I'll probably be at the Peterson.
At the Peterson.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to get the vault tour, request Anna Octane.
I'll be there.
Anna Marco is she known
Anna
there.
Marco.
And Fireball, what's on your agenda? You talked about the museum this weekend.
Yeah, we just got a lot of packing, a lot of stuff to do, but it's very exciting, and I can't wait to get all that stuff together so that people can come over and experience something fresh.
Cool.
And it's
You
happening.
want us to come help you?
If you guys want to come and drive and hang out, for sure. We'll take anybody, any person wants to join us.
Okay.
And Moon Eyes this weekend, the open house at Moon Eyes in Santa Fe Spring on Saturday, Sunday. It's Collector Car Appreciation Day, and they're going to have their big annual event in Southern California at Vista Ford in Oxnard. So it's nice and close for us. Vista Ford's going to host about 300-400 cars in their parking lot. The cars will start getting in there around 9 o'clock in the morning. Randy Cardoon and I will be doing our live broadcasts from their combined Stop and Say Hi. Skeeter Raiders coming in from Lost Wages, Nevada. The Coachman putting it on. The Television and Motion Picture Car Club is going to be one of the featured clubs. Come on out to Oxnard and Vista Ford.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Like you say, it's supposed to be heating up here in Southern California, and it'll be a nice, cool day in Oxnard.
That it will be. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Like us on Facebook. Like Bob Beck on Facebook.
Like
Share
me.
us. And like Anna. I like Anna.
I like me.
Fireball.
Come join
like
us.
Fireball.
Art Talk at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time on Facebook Live.
And get your morning gas on Facebook at 11 a.m. every morning during the week. That's right.
I'm not sure if I should say excuse me or thank you.
I don't know. Just stay clear.
God, that's awesome.
And it's available in Smell-O-Vision. No.
Oh, no.
Facebook. We're live on Facebook and at GAAS.com. Thanks for tuning in. Please share and let people know about us. I'm Hot Rod Bob. Fireball.
And Octane.
Thank you, guys.
And Bruce Parker. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you.